Good morning, folks. Just wanted to share a funny story with you. I was out in the swamp today, moving around, checking some new areas that I want to possibly set up on, just doing some scouting. And as I was moving around through the swamp here, I was reminded of a very funny, very true story that happened several years ago. So back, I'm going to guess it was 8 years ago, the BBC asked me to film a documentary on wood ducks and their nesting cycle and them jumping out of the cavity for the first time in the swamp. And so I started looking for a location to do this. Well, there's a family that owns a private piece of property here in Clarendon County that I've been friends with for many years. Great people. And they kind of give me free reign of the place. They allow me to come and go and film and photograph whatever I want, whenever I want, no problems. And to protect the folks involved from any more humiliation, I'm just going to call the lady Mary and her son John. So Mary and John and the rest of their family, they're big outdoors people. They hunt, they fish, they bird watch, they take hikes in the forest and the swamps, and they're just outdoor people and love it. The son especially. And he would go off for hours on end into this swamp and just enjoy himself, whether it be fishing, squirrel hunting, bird watching, just whatever. He spent a lot of time in this swamp. And it's a typical cypress swamp. So you've got cypress trees, you got standing water in areas, and you have deep mud in areas. And it's kind of a remote area. It's not easy to get into. And so one day this young man discovers a large track, like a footprint in the swamp. And he knew that it was not human. It was way too big to be a person's footprint. And he got real excited real quick. He immediately runs back home. He goes in and finds his mom, Mary, and says, "Mama, I think I've got a Bigfoot track. I'm not joking. It's huge. There's nothing else that can make this track. And I need to take you and go look at it. Let's go look at this thing. It cannot be, there's nothing else it could be. It's got to be Bigfoot." So Mary and John take off to the swamp. They get in there. He shows her the track, and she is convinced too that, yeah, this is not human. There's no explanation for it. It's got to be something, maybe a Bigfoot. So they go back. They get plaster of Paris. And they return to the track and start making a plaster mold of this track. They remove the mold. They send it to the State Department of Natural Resources to, let them know that they've possibly found a Bigfoot and what their thoughts on it were. Well, at some point in the conversation, I think the biologist turned to them and said, "It looks like a snowshoe track." And nothing was ever else said. A few months later, I'm talking with Mary, just in random conversation, and she's telling me this story. And I said, "Mary," I said, "the mud is so deep in there that you can't walk. So I use my snowshoes to move around in there. And it probably looks a little something like this." Obviously, we had a big laugh about that, and I will never, ever forget that story. I was just walking through the swamp this morning and remembered that story, and I said, I got to share it with somebody, so it's too funny. But that brings me to my pro tip for the day. So if you ever find yourself in an area of like a swamp or a marsh, and anywhere that has very soft soil and it's too deep and boggy to walk in, you can use snowshoes. Snowshoes, it's the same exact principle. The way snowshoes work is they actually displace your body weight over a greater surface area, which allows you to walk on top of the snow instead of your foot bogging down into the snow. Works great for mud as well. And I've used this for many, many years. So there's your little pro tip for the day. All right, guys, have a great one. Bye.